That is terrible. Again, peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening? My bad. I'm glad you was there, bro, because I had the mute on. So we gonna rewind and go back a little bit and touch on what I was touching on, which is dealing with current headlines, right? A lot of times we have people who follow various channels and platforms and people who may be popular on Instagram and things like this and that. You know, you have various celebrities who are picking and choosing sides, right? They may be cool with one particular entertainer, but not cool with the next particular entertainer, right? And I don't understand how you all allow yourselves to be influenced by these individuals. Again, starting from the top, if you will, even dealing with, this nation state. They have been very messy, right? Very messy, and they flip flop often. For example, there were claims being made that they were going to ban TikTok, the tick and the talk, right? And it hasn't come into fruition, right? It's similar to the terror situation. One week there's terrors, the next not. The next week there isn't terrors. It's like I said, it's too. We should be accustomed to this type of behavior because it's been going on since I've been here, right? From day one, I've noticed that these people don't stick to various agendas, many agendas. They don't, even if it's something that they have labeled as a law, like they play in your face is what they do, right? Often they play in the people's face. And I don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. Like anytime anything is presented to me, best believe I'm going to vet that information as thoroughly as possible. And this is what we all have to begin to do. Therefore, when you make a particular statement, you don't have to worry about me pointing at you and trying to make you accountable for what you said. If it's something that's alleged, you need to voice that, well, I heard this here or there, and I haven't verified that particular information yet. So this is going to be something new that we're doing, right? Any and everything that's voiced here on this particular platform, especially on this particular show, if it's not anything that I know for certain that is an absolute fact without a shadow of a doubt, I will use the term alleged. There will be no me making blanket statements and pulling from what this senator said or this congresswoman and this particular entertainer without me thoroughly vetting that information. And this is what we all have to do in order for us to be able to unite. We need unity, y'all. I cannot be unified with someone who I know is continuously sharing misinformation or pseudo information or neo-Nazi skinhead racist satire, and you just repeating stuff that you have no facts. You have no facts to back it up, and this happens too often, y'all. It gets to be too much because this misinformation gets trickled down again into our various movements, and then it causes more division amongst us when there's already too much division outside of these various movements. Us as melanated, or if you will, black people, right? We already divided. We divided by way of the various classes. You got your people who are middle class, upper middle class. You have some of us who are what we would consider to be rich. You have some of us who we would consider to be wealthy. And you have a lot of us who live just above the poverty line, just at the poverty line, or just below the poverty line, which is something you all should be tired of hearing me state, but it's the facts. It's facts. People are getting very carried away with a lot of information that it doesn't benefit us. And then, there's a bunch of brothers and sisters who would say, well, for example, I've made a ton of videos, rebuttal videos concerning Michelle Obama and Venus and Serena Williams being called men, right? And with these rebuttal videos, I've shown and improved where that satire, where that neo-Nazi skinhead satire came from. It did not come from any of us, right? So when things like that happen again, and it sounds crazy, we know the truth is stranger than fiction, but again, that doesn't mean that you settle for thinking that these things are the truth, right? Because it's strange, or because, again, an entertainer said it. Like, so, again, your various senators and Congress people and those sitting in the Oval Office lie to you all the time. They flip flop information all the time. But see, we'll wait. Like, it's May, right? Back in February, I'll say end of February, beginning of March, somewhere in there, when I began to speak about the executive order that Trump signed, right, claiming that the Dutch, as he won't call them Dutch, he'll continue to call them the South Africans, right, which we know is very erroneous, because these people are of Dutch, I call it Neanderthal land, the Netherlands, which is where they come from, right? These are the people who brought the apartheid system with them to rule over the indigenous people of that particular land. So these false claims that, again, Trump is making to try to mask why how many is it, like 8,000 Dutch people who came from South Africa, because he said that they are being discriminated against. Well, it's real simple. There's a simple solution. You can go back to the Netherlands, where you came from, where your ancestors are from, where your lineage is from. You can go back there, because you had no business being in that particular land to begin with. But again, when I was expressing this by way of social media months ago, nobody paid attention. I ain't gonna say nobody paid attention, but it was like, again, due to the fact that I not only challenge the information that I know is pseudo, I keep picking at it, and I keep picking at it, and I keep picking at it, and I'll continue to do that. Because again, this promotion and regurgitation of false information makes us all look bad. People who are claiming to have knowledge of self and to present scholarship, or have the duty of, again, vetting information, because that's what scholars do. Scholars examine both sides of the coin. You don't just take things at face value. Again, because a congressperson said something, it doesn't make it a fact. They just talking. These are talking points. These are a way of them to, for example, I'm just going to get to it. What's her name? Anna Paulina Luna, who made these claims about, she has this information concerning, what they're trying to do is get Tory Lanez a pardon, due to the fact that he's exhausted his appeal. His appeal was denied, right? So his only chance at freedom prior to him being eligible for parole is for him to be pardoned by Gavin Newsom, right? And I'm not sure if Trump could even pardon him. But at this point in time, from all of the research that I've done by way of the transcripts from the actual trial where he was convicted, and again, I'm talking about Tory Lanez. That's what I call him. I call him Tory Lanez, because he wants to blame everybody except for himself for the situation that he's in, right? He blamed Kelsey Harris, right? And then it, was, well, Megan didn't get shot, It's just too much fake information, y'all. I can't deal with it. And again, this Congresswoman Luna, I had to do a deep research on her, right? And that's what I did. And when I did it, I found out that she is a supporter of QAnon. And if you know anything about QAnon, damn near 98% of claims that was made by way of this particular entity known as QAnon did not come into fruition, right? None of it ever happened. So I also looked at the fact that She lied about her ethnicity. Am I saying that right? You know, I like to repeat that. Her ethnicity, right? Her background, who she is. These is so many. If you go and research this woman, you'll see she's a big MAGA person. Which again, I don't give a shit if she MAGA or not. You know what I'm saying? She could be, you know what they call a leftist, a liberal. I wouldn't give a shit. Liars come on both sides. You know, it just is what it is. It again, she said that 2 days ago. Matter of fact, 3 days ago, she said that there was new evidence available concerning Tory Lanez, and within 36 hours, she was going to release this evidence. In the same way I asked everybody about Biden and Trump, particularly Trump with the building the wall and make a Mexico pay for it, did he do it? And the same thing went for the Biden-Harris administration. They ran on the promise of eliminating the student loan debts. Did they do it? Right? It was done for a few people, but that's not what they didn't run on. We're going to eliminate the student loan debt for a percentage of people. No, you said that you were going to do it across the board, and it didn't get done. Right? So again, this Congresswoman Luna, she said she was going to release this new evidence within 36 hours, and she did not. And what I've come to find out, is that a few things. First and foremost, the bodyguard driver of, and peace to my brother Willie D. I heard him and he, misspoke, right? He was under the impression that the bodyguard / driver for Kelsey Harris was there on the scene the night that Tory Lanez beat Kelsey Harris' ass and shot Megan Thee Stallion, but he was not. What her bodyguard or former bodyguard / driver claims is that he overheard a conversation in between Kelsey Harris and her husband, where Kelsey Harris says that she shot Megan Thee Stallion. So this lets me know that most people did not research even the low budget stage press conference that was given by way of, what is it, the People United or Unite the People? Because they didn't lie about what his name is, what, Bradley James or something like that, the driver / bodyguard. He never said, and they never said, that he was there during the night of the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion, right? It was clearly stated by those particular attorneys that Bradley James or James Bradley, which one is it, y'all, that he was not there that evening. So again, and all of this information is available the same way that the false and the misinformation is available to you. But again, people are just lazy. I mean, it was a time where you couldn't just get away with just saying anything about anybody. Like, people would actually pull up on you. Y'all call it pulling up, right? But this is not the current climate that we're in. Right now, people get away with saying all kind of, and I don't want to say crazy stuff, because again, we know a lot of times truth is stranger than fiction. But just because something is strange or crazy sounding doesn't mean that it's the truth. And by now, if you haven't been able to see through this stuff, like, for example, last year and the year before, Kanye West was calling Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, a fake and cussing him out. But right now, Kanye is supporting him and saying that, Sean Combs is his brother and free him and all. Y'all don't see the inconsistencies in this stuff? I had a young lady jump on a comment that I made and insist to me that, I'm the goofy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the goofy because Kanye West said this and this person said that, and I don't care. I don't care what Kanye West says. Understand that. If he is stating something that I'm unsure about, the validity, of it, I'm going to vet that information until I get to the root. And if I can't get to the root of it, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it alone until some evidence comes about. Okay? So let me get back over here with some of these headlines right quick for you all. Good evening. Where we at? My little slow mouse be doing its own thing, right? So we got the Confederate Museum. You know what I'm saying? We got the Confederate Museum. You got the plantation house being burnt to the ground. You got the Confederate Museum. What was that, in North Carolina? Get smashed. Like, it's a lot going on, and people are pulling out the Annabella doll that was sent to Louisiana. What is it? Am I saying it right, or was it the antebellum? Hold on, we gonna get this right, because again, we want to be 100% absolutely factual with all of this information. We don't want to have behind anything, for sure. I know who I was talking about. I was asking about the 607 aunt guy. Like, I don't understand. Thank you, Annabella. Right? They were saying don't let this dial out. Don't move it. Don't do anything. And if there is any metaphysical or spiritual thing going on with this dial, with them moving it, it seems to have worked in our favor, right? Because it's things are just falling to the ground, right? You got the prisoners escaping. Again, you got the plantation house where many people was renting that joint out to have weddings and things like this and that. Like, that's crazy. Imagine having your wedding at a plantation. Like, just crazy, just crazy. So this the 607 aunt guy, like, I asked Amir, I'm like, what is it with this guy? You know what I'm saying? That so I would listen to some of the things, and when he's listening to their videos over there in his office, I'm like, bruh. So I stumbled across a video where they were saying that he said that male and female booty is the same. Like, nah, bro. Like, I'm not, I don't have any experience with male and female booty. But again, for conscious people to allow him into the cipher is like, what are we doing? I don't care if he, is currently someone who has substance abuse issues, or in his past he has substance abuse issues. My point is this: it's like it's the same thing with Charleston White. Like, he dips into our pond every now and then, right? But then at the same time, he's say other crazy stuff that we, don't want in the pond. So why should we entertain these people? Again, if he was saying something that was phenomenal or very historically astute that I never heard before, then that would be one thing. But when I hear this man just regurgitating information and remixing information that very well came from our scholars and our elders, like, why would I be paying this guy any attention and amening him and giving him a round of applause and shit? Like, I can understand the babies who are coming into knowledge of self, looking at him as some type of reputable source for information. But people like you and I, like, where they do that at? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro, we straight on you. I'm good. I wouldn't dare. And I didn't see him, but I saw a notification for Sonetta TV where they had 607 on their show. Like, he couldn't even pay me to be on this show, let alone me pay him or let him come on this show, giving him more exposure so that he can gain more followers. Like, what is happening, y'all? What's really going on? Like, I'm not, to my understanding, he became popular by way of What did he wrote, or he claims to have written some of Nelly's music. Like, bruh, for real, you go from that to being on, like the art of dialogue in shows like that. You know what I'm saying? That cater to a certain type of information, that's overstood. But to bring him into, uh, or bring him onto a platform that's supposed to be conscious, like, nah, I put that in the same realm as the brothers and sisters who regurgitate pseudo information, repeatedly repeating it. It pisses me off. I'm gonna say what it is, because again, some of these same brothers and sisters have put out reputable lectures that you can verify the information, that they're lecturing about. But almost half of what's being said is just not true. And there's no way, you know what I'm saying, you can rebut the information and disprove it. And with that being said, there's no way possible that you can verify misinformation. It's simply misinformation, right? But this is a way that you see through the smoke screen. Usually when an individual tells one lie, they're going to tell 50 more lies, and they're going to be forced to tell 50 more lies based off of the first lie about certain content that they broadcast. That's how you know that they're lying, right? That's just what it is. And, again, I don't care about how anybody feels. Your feelings don't have anything to do with this. This is about the facts. And that's it. All of the propaganda and things like this and that have no place when we trying to get to the facts and the truth. I'm trying to see, because it was something. I know what it was. The what's his name? Westmore, the governor of Maryland. We're gonna talk about him for a good few minutes. We're gonna go into him vetoing the reparations study bill, right? If you do not know, his mother is Jamaican, if I'm not mistaken. They're from one of the islands, one of the adjoining islands. Because a lot of us like to act like when we start talking about places like the Dominican Republic and Haiti and Jamaica, and I don't want to say Puerto Rico because they fly the golden fringe flag or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But these places are American islands, right? They aren't over in Europe anywhere. They're not over, off the coast of what we call Africa. Like, these islands are the adjoining islands of America, North, Central, and South, right? They're not outside of that. But again, they're their own individual nations, the same way the various states used to be sovereign nations, right? And post-Civil War, when again these people began to make loads and loads of physical policies that dictates their fiat currency system. Again, now they are not independent nations, right? Don't look at me. You see what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm only stating the facts. Anything outside that we won't deal with. So let's get back to the his name, Westmore, the mayor of Maryland, him vetoing this bill. Many of us would say that, well, he's not FBA, right? He's of a different nationality, so to speak, right? I could say that that's one of the reasons, but I think the main reason that he vetoed that bill is based off of fear. It's not just based off of his allegiance to a particular party or nation or administration or anything like that. It's based off of two things, right? Neither of his parents grandparents or great grandparents or great great grandparents, excuse me, that suffered from slavery. They didn't deal with the red linings, the red lining, the Jim Crow, the Red Summers, the vagrancy laws. His parents did not deal with any of that. So it wouldn't touch and affect him the way that it touched it, and affects us, right? So he doesn't have an over or understanding of what is really going on. You see what I'm saying? And again, fear. I very well think fear is the reason that he ran away from, you know what I'm saying? Now, to be fair, he says that it's not the study that needs to, be financed, because that's what this is about. We need to get to the work. And I'm saying, we've talked about this and we've shown it quite a few times, the various cities and towns who are making moves. They pass reparation legislation in these various cities and towns, right? But we know that the various cities and towns don't have the finance to actually give us reparations, restitution, and compensation for what has not only happened to our ancestors, but happens to us right here now today, right? So again, with that being said, a lot of people are upset at the fact that he vetoed that bill. The same way, now who we could be mad at is the brothers and sisters who are in the Black Caucus who vetoed the bill before, and this is in California, before Gavin Newsom vetoed the bill. To my understanding and to my limited research, just dealing with that particular situation, they were supposed to let him veto the bill, not them. This was something that they fought for. So why would you all turn around and pull it? Again, fear. Fear that they won't be able to secure one of those seats, one of those government seats again. I'm saying these people are doing business in the biggest way. Now, when we talk about, I'll go back to the Dutch people from South Africa who are now taking over farms that were, where people actually went bankrupt because they didn't receive the government funding that was needed in order to be able to keep the farms up and running, right? And did y'all see Trump holding up a picture as proof that these, just for the sake of me, if I keep saying Dutch, a lot of people are not going to follow that. They're going to call these people the white South Africans, the people who brought apartheid to South Africa. These are the people that we as a nation should sympathize with because they're facing discrimination, but yet they robbed this particular landmass for decades and discriminated against the indigenous people of that land for decades. So what I'm asking y'all to do is put the mirror up. You see what I'm saying? So you can clearly see the similarities in the situation. It's the same thing going on over here. The people, us, I'm not going to even, us, we have been those who have been discriminated against and again, redlined and Jim Crowed and, the vagrancy laws, the Christian black codes. These are their beginnings of creating policy, right? And keep in mind, as I always state, on an annual basis, they create 100,000 more of these said policies. So he looking across the water saying, hey, those people are being discriminated against. But these people over here aren't. The people who you said thank you to the black people for voting for me, and the Hispanics for voting for me, right? And there hasn't been one word spoken about any compensation being given to us by way of restitution, reparations. Not from him. And in all honesty, I don't trust any of them. And the thing is, you were never supposed to trust them the same way you were never supposed to vote for them. Like, I don't get y'all. Like, this again, I've watched this cycle flip flop from Democrat to Republican throughout my entire lifetime. And each arm, when one gets elected, does the same things over and over again, right? Democrats get in. Thank you for hitting the like, y'all. Hit the like button for me. The Democrats get in and they give little trinkets like raising the amount of food stamps or bridge cards that people get. You know, allotting more of the Medicaid and Medicare and things like this and that, right? And that's just the highlighted stuff that the people, the small population of people will pay attention to, while ignoring the vicious things that the Democrats do when they're in office, right? And then when the Republicans get in, they take away all of those things. This shit has happened on and off my entire lifetime. I've watched this happen from Reagan all the way up into Trump, right? From Bill Clinton to Joe Biden. They do the same acts over and over because these are their business practices. These are the business practices that they came here with from day one. When we start talking about colonies, 13 colonies, we start talking about colonists, we start talking about pilgrims. You know what I'm saying? These are things that, whether we talking about Quakers and abolitionists, excuse me, this is repeated behavior. So how is it that we still only hold less than 2% of the nation's wealth? And again, I'm not going to argue with you as to whether it is 1.5% of the nation's wealth or 2%. Like, what is that for you to be arguing with me about? Like, real talk, it's the same fucking thing. Peace, God, we in this piece. It's the same thing. It's no different. They go back and forth all the time, and they pump fake. They pump fake and play in your face. They pump fake with the we taking TikTok away. They pump fake with the tariffs. And I want you to know, if you don't know, and you new to listening to anything that I talk about, the same way that I drag your boy, Donald Trump, is the same way that I drag anybody who sits in that Oval Office and does not balance the books by way of cutting the checks that they owe. People will act like, oh, you know, y'all begging, you know, you need to create your own this, and y'all spend 1 trillion, you know, that's pennies. You mean to tell me that 40 million, that you equate a population of allegedly 40 million or 38 million people who spend 1.2 trillion on an annual basis? You think that's wealth? That's fucking pennies. That's pennies. If you take that 1.2 trillion, right, and you divide it by 40 million individuals, what you come up with is, okay, we buy shoes. Do you not need shoes? Right? Okay, we buy clothes. Why can't we buy nice cars without fucking being ridiculed, right? You want me to go buy a hoopty? You want me to live in a home that has no windows and no security system? Like, what are we talking about? And again, $1 trillion is pennies. When you have to divide that again amongst 38 million to 40 million pennies, that equates to nothing. If we are talking about we are expressing that it's gonna take 15 to 20 trillion dollars within a reparations bill for it to be anywhere even near the arena of being a fair amount, because that's still not a fair amount. Again, when you're talking about, you're gonna have to distribute that to 40 million people. I'm saying we gotta, get off, and I'm gonna stop saying we. Some of us really gotta get off stupid, for real. Thank you. Again, that's pennies. So when I hear this, oh, black people are the biggest consumers. How when we hold the least amount of wealth? In comparison, and I'm just talking about in comparison to so-called black people, and so-called white people, or the Christians and the actual indigenous, aboriginal, autochthonous Americans, right? There's no comparison. Now, if you could show me some type of statistical study where you can prove that it's predominantly black people who buy Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Versace, then I would have to eliminate my thought process of how finances really work, right? Best believe they don't build Gucci and Louis Vuitton stores on Rodeo Drive, right? For melanated people. That's a fantasy, right? Many of us, again, we like nice things. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely, I don't have a problem with someone preferring to drive and I'm not going to even use a foreign car, for someone to prefer to drive a Cadillac over a Chevy Cavalier or Chevrolet Corsica. You see what I'm saying? Like, we, hey, let's get to the next story. Let me do that again. The Governor Wes Moore, I simply think he's afraid. And again, he's not one of us. At the end of the day, he is not one of us. Let me see what we got. 30 to, I don't know. I gotta see. Me, like I said, I have to see it in black and white. And it has to make sense financially too when I see it in black and white. It has to be logical when I see it in black and white. And it has to be from what I consider to be a reputable source, right? Like, I give you an example. As of late, the conscious community has been very erroneous with some of the claims that are being made and some of the narratives that people are following. For example, I can't think of her name right now. The woman who Biden, the melanated woman who Biden put on the Supreme Court, I can't think of her name right now. But when people found out that she was married to a so-called white man, and this was happening prior to her, I'm not saying that it started with her, but within the conscious community, a lot of brothers began to drag the sisters. Oh, see how y'all doing? See how they do? They like the white man and blah, blah, blah. And bruh. Okay, so either I look at the fact that many people aren't from a city like the city that I'm from. You see what I'm saying? I literally, let me make sure in my mind, because I said this I literally went through my whole childhood and never saw an interracial couple. I literally went through my whole childhood and I didn't see an interracial couple until we moved to Florida, right? I went through my whole childhood and never experienced anything like that. Like, literally, in my elementary school, it was only 2 white students, right? One little white boy that was in kindergarten, the first grade with us, his name was David. The other white kid or whatever, I forget his name, but before we started second grade, both of those 2 white children were no longer students in my elementary school. So just imagine, in my lifetime, like, I'm just giving you the facts. I didn't grow up, you know what I'm saying, in a city where it was 30% white and 70% black, or 60% black and 40% white. And no, this is Detroit. This is a whole nother ball game for you, right? Like, certain things I just wasn't exposed to until we moved somewhere else, right? So when I dealt with the statistics, first I knew what my eyes saw throughout my lifetime as an adult and as a minor, traveling all over what we call the United States of America, right? And different places you will experience and you will see different things, and you will even hear different type of music, right? When you turn the radio on, you have a problem. That's her name. Thank you. You have a problem finding certain type of music when I was outside of Detroit, right? It was hard to find a black radio station and so on and so forth. Things were different. very different when I went somewhere else. Like literally, I learned to actually utilize the antenna, the wire antenna that comes with your receiver for your, your radio system or whatnot. When I went somewhere else, but here I never had to do that. You see what I'm saying? So when it came to dealing with interracial marriage with melanated women and other nationalities, currently we only marry outside of us at the rate of 12%, right? But when it comes to melanated men, interracial, participating in interracial, marriage, it doubles the amount of our women. It's actually at 25%. So when I say I need to see things in black and white, when I go onto Google, I deal with the Center for Disease Control, the FDA, the ADA, things where they statistically are able to state to state count the amount of marriage licenses and marriage certificates, and they give their statistics based off of that, not based off of, you know what I'm saying, what you see on the internet. That don't count, not even based on my life experiences of what I saw. But I felt as though I knew that there was no way possible that melanated women, interracially, if that's a word, marry. We just not attracted to the others in that way, or as much as our men seem to be, right? And that's just a fact. And again, even when you start bringing up famous people and things like this and that, come on now. From Jim Brown to O.J. Simpson to Sidney Poitier to Kanye West and various other men, melanated men who are in the entertainment industry, I can see. You cannot compare that to the amount of celebrity women and government officials, you know what I'm saying, who make more than 6 figures on an annual basis. You just don't see it because it does not happen. It just don't. And I've actually had, to argue these statistics. Like, okay, I realize again that some of the people who I made dialogue with aren't from where I'm from. They're not from a city that has, since my existence, has always been over 88% and more melanated. Versus, again, Chicago is a very big city, right? And right now, their population exceeds ours. But they have never, that city has never been, you know what I'm saying, in these modern days and times, it has never been 85% or 88% black and 12% other. Never. Like I said, Detroit is, you not gonna never find another city like this. Ever. That's my word. So y'all can miss me with that. That is a fallacy. That is a fantasy. Like Guy in 1989. It's just a fantasy. Yeah, I don't deal with the fake information. If I can't find the facts, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't know. Because with me, it's either I know or I don't know. It's not, well, I believe or I think. No, we too grown for that. So let's deal with, I want to talk about the city of Flint, right? Flint, Michigan. And the poisoning of the water. Because that's exactly what it was. Again, Flint, prior to that poisoning of their water, they used to get their water from Detroit, right? Again, we are connected to the Great Lakes, which is the best water in the world. That being, and I misspoke, I kept saying Ontario when I meant to say Orion. So what is it? Lake Huron? Or was I saying, is Ontario? And I was saying Orion? Y'all help me out. You got Lake Michigan, you got Lake Erie, you got Lake Superior, Lake Huron. Like, they was getting the best of the best water. But in order to budget, you know how they like to cut things, in order to budget, right, and cut down on spending, their mayor and the governor decided that Flint was going to get water from the Flint River. right? Instead of getting the good water from here, from Detroit, that siphons the water, not just from the river, but from Lake Superior. Correct me on that if I'm saying the wrong lake, y'all. I actually got the story pulled up. But okay. So once they did that, that's when poisoning of the water happened. They tried to blame it on the pipes, which I'm not saying that the piping didn't play a part in the contamination of the water. But my point being is they were getting the water from Detroit the same way all of these other suburbs that surround Detroit. And if you're from Detroit, you know for years when we go back and we talk about the beefs that, peace be upon them, Coleman A. Young, the mayor Coleman A. Young, had with the mayor for Southfield and Oakland County executives in general. They were beefing with Coleman A. Young and the city of Detroit because, again, we had all melanated officials and we made them pay. We made them pay to use Cobo Hall. We made them pay for that water, and this went on for decades, right? So there was always a campaign to make people think that Detroit is this horrible place. And it's terrible, and it's full of crime, and it's full of this is where the black people was getting the money at, right? This is the wealthiest city in the world, not the wealthiest city in North America, right? So of course, those on the outside who did not have control of the affairs of the city of Detroit spoke bad about it. And I'm not going to say that we didn't have a high rate of crime consistent of homicide and things like this and that. Yes, we did. But for a city this size with a population of over 1 million so-called black people within it, who at the time had the most black homeowners in North America, and so on and so forth. Like again, like I said on Facebook multiple times, from 1974 all the way up until 2014, the city of Detroit did not have one white mayor. Name me another city that for, 40 years? 1974 to 2014, not have a single white mayor. Every single mayor was melanated. Show me another city. Another major city. You can't do it. And again, these are the facts that I'm presenting. So now Flint once again gets his water from where? And they've just been playing this over and over on the various mainstream news media sites or whatever, where their water is good now. They no longer have to bathe with bottled water, drink bottled water, because they went back to their original source of where they were siphoning their water for. So I wanted to mention that in this broadcast and bring that awareness to you all about this city that we love, right? You have some people who live inside of the city who don't like the city like that and would disagree. They would be wrong to disagree with everything I'm saying, because everything I'm stating is a fact. The same way I can show you some of the most beautiful homes and neighborhoods inside of Detroit, and you will be like, dang, I didn't even know y'all had shit like that. You know why? Because you listen to the propaganda, right? And these beautiful homes existed prior to the gentrification and thing, and the the appropriation of the land and how you say that, eminent domain and things like that has happened over the years. These beautiful homes and beautiful neighborhoods already existed inside of the city. So what happens is you get a lot of brothers and sisters who may stay off of Mack and Bewick, or grew up off Mack and Bewick and never left that area. You got brothers and sisters who grew up off Dexter and Linwood and Livernois, you see what I'm saying, who never left that area. And there's many areas within the city of Detroit that they never been to in their life. So they may be online amening some of the falsehoods that are being expressed about their very own city. For example, a brother shared a Facebook post, and he was showing all of these beautiful homes around the St. Jean area in Detroit. And there were people from Detroit and white people from the suburbs commenting on the video saying, that's not Detroit, that's Grosse Pointe, that's not Detroit, that's here, that's there. And just imagine how wore out he was trying to correct these people. Like, no, this is on such and such street in this neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? So I had to reinforce what he was saying by mentioning other neighborhoods like Palmer Woods, like Sherwood Forest, like Rosedale Park. And the area that he was showing is near Indian Village. All of these communities and neighborhoods are inside of the city of Detroit and have always been there. So when I hear somebody from the city of Detroit, amen, like I believe me, I know that there is a lot of abandoned homes post 2008 due to the financial crisis, right? There are a lot of homes that don't exist anymore because they torn down, because when people were losing these homes due to property tax foreclosure and mortgage foreclosure, they abandoned the homes. So then you had the people who, the scammers, as well as people who have substance abuse problems, going into the homes and gutting them, taking the pipes and things like this and that to feed their habits, or just off pure greed. Or that's how many people for quite a few years began to make a living, by going into these abandoned homes and buildings and gutting them, right? So with that being said, you have a shell of a house. So it's easy for somebody who isn't from Detroit to come in and make these YouTube videos and say, look at Detroit, look how messed up it is, and never go into any of the various neighborhoods and communities and see the beautiful people and the beautiful neighborhoods and the beautiful homes and the beautiful communities, which still exist in this city and will always exist in it. You will literally have to drop napalm on this city to get rid of these people, these beautiful homes, and these beautiful neighborhoods, right? So I say that. Just because your ass is from where you from in the city of Detroit and you never really been outside of that particular neighborhood, unless you were leaving to go to your little job in Livonia or Dearborn or Southfield or wherever you work at, you see what I'm saying? You haven't been exposed to it. Only place your ass ever been is to Belle Isle and Starter's Lounge or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. You don't know your own city versus somebody like me who I can spin you around. I look here. I know people from Jamaica. I know brothers and sisters from New York, right? And they had this impression that Detroit is the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I let them know, as soon as you get your ass here, make sure you come to see me and let me take you around, right? So you can apologize for that whole shit you was talking. No, this is nowhere near being the country, bro. At all. At all. For sure. Yep, and the dumping, yep, it's just, it is what it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. We know, but again, I'm not gonna say, you see what I'm saying? What I'm gonna say is, when you depopulate a city, or when people abandon their property, which is something, again, I've expressed on here multiple times, this is something that the ancestors did. We could build one of the greatest kingdoms, dominions, or empires known to man, and based off of us being in tune with astronomy, right? Or even astrology, if you want to call it that, and the studying of the stars, which, you know what I'm saying, what y'all call Arab right now. You see what I'm saying? Just like to cross over, which is Hebrew, to cross over, like, we would abandon shit. We would see that something is going to come, right? And we would just drop everything and go somewhere else and build something else up. So it's genetically embedded in us to move that way. Again, it's in your blood. Like, so many of my people, for example, relocated. They abandoned some very nice homes and went elsewhere because they were already in jeopardy of losing their properties to, again, mortgage foreclosure or property tax foreclosure. Because again, you have a lot of homeowners here, right, where you may rent a home in Detroit and be surprised that your landlords look like me, versus you renting, an apartment or something like that in New York or Chicago. You see what I'm saying? And you have people of other nationalities, or pale people are your landlords. Like, again, this is a very special place. And I'm gonna say this one time and we're gonna go to something else, which is why Peace to the elder and honors. I pay homage to the work that he's put in, Dr. Claude Anderson. When the financial crisis was happening, he was begging people, number one, not to abandon this city. Number two, he was begging people from other places to locate or relocate back to Detroit. And people didn't understand this, right? And everything that I've just expressed is the very reason that he was saying these things, right? I talked about Mickey Howard a couple times in the interview where she was asked about the city of Detroit, and you can see her damn near tear up. Like, she said, and I'm saying this almost verbatim. She said to her, Detroit was like Africa. And the young lady who was interviewing her, she asked, like, well, what do you mean? She said, Detroit was black everything. Everywhere I went, whether it was a restaurant, whether it was an after hours, where we had our own casinos inside the after hours long before MGM and Motor City and the Greektown Casino, right? It's everything black. You don't experience that in these other cities right now outside of Atlanta. And Atlanta is a very Detroitish place. Detroitish. I'm just making up words, right? It's very Dey-Twah, if you will, right? And people usually, for example, Jermaine Dupri said Atlanta is the new Motown. And people took that as musical, right? But that's not what he solely meant. He was talking about black wealth, or melanated wealth is what he was talking about, and the music industry, right? Again, if this was once the wealthiest city in the world, and many of our grandparents and some of y'all parents came from the South, right? My mom was born here, so my situation is a little bit different. See what I'm saying? But coming from the South to come up here, you see what I'm saying? During that time when this was the richest city in the world, why do you think many of them relocated here? So again, a lot of that wealth, our parents and grandparents worked towards building generational wealth. What killed the generational wealth from trickling down into my generation, for some of us, not all of us, was the crack cocaine epidemic, right? That was literally a plague that was intentionally put into our neighborhoods, because there are no cocaine plants growing nowhere in the city of Detroit, the city of Chicago, the city of Miami, New York City, Los Angeles County, Houston, Dallas, Memphis, Charlotte, Norfolk, Richmond. There's no coca plants. So how did the cocaine get into our communities? I guarantee you, if crack never existed, because again, prior to crack existing, freebase cocaine was already in full effect. But I guarantee you, if crack never existed, we would be closer to closing the wealth gap than what we nowhere near it now. We're actually going in reverse, regardless to all of the new millionaires that have been created with the usage of the internet and I don't just want to say Bitcoin, but what you call that type of currency? These are things that are facts. They're non-debatable. Non-debatable. So let me get what else we got over here. So I talked about Flint. They're now getting their water from Detroit again, so the water is good. Shout out to Burkina Faso, right? And President Ibrahim, right? Talked about Maryland Governor Wes Moore vetoing the reparations bill. Trying to make sure I cover everything. Who we got? And then was tripping me out. The president of South Africa told Trump He say we don't have no airplanes to get your ass. Cryptocurrency, thank you. I don't. That go to show how much I really deal with that. But yeah, South African president told Trump, we ain't got no airplane to give you, bro. And what you saying is not true. But see, we are used to him lying. You see what I'm saying? So it's coming to the point to whereas the world is getting accustomed to the fairy tales that he be out here selling, big time. I don't really have much to say about the Diddy trial. You know, what's the guy, Kid Cudi? When did he testify? Today or yesterday? He say him and Diddy squashed their little beef or whatever, but Diddy didn't want to admit to blowing up his car. He says he was really in love with what's the girl name? They got the 30 million from Diddy. She got the 10 million, and then it was 20 more million that we didn't even know about. But Diddy squoze her parents for 20,000, but then gave them back the 20,000 after they, you know what I'm saying? They then took the equity out their house or remortgage or refinance their home to get him this 20,000 that he was threatening them that he was gonna do this, and that to them, only to turn around and get them the money back after they done, shitted on their credit score a little bit. Cassie Ventura. Thank you. I be needing that help, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. This shit is crazy. Where is that? Yeah, we've addressed the rumors about Floyd Mayweather buying 400 million worth of real estate in New York, and now they're saying that he didn't. But what I got a problem with him about, I don't, if he did or he didn't, you know what I'm saying? It's his money in his pockets to lie on. But what's not cool is the fact that at one of his boxing gyms, many of his employees weren't paid for weeks. So they went on a strike. This was some months back, right? So I'm wondering if he reimbursed them people with extras, because these are people who work for him for free. Some of them for a couple of months work for him for free, right? Okay, it was today. Like, yeah, I'm not really tuned in to that trial because it's like, again, I'm looking at the fact that people will say Diddy is guilty, but you say Tory Lanez is innocent. Like, that let me know that you didn't research that case at all. And I'm not talking about the Diddy case because they're not even mid-riff into the case yet. This is the beginning of the case. This case is opposed to the testimonies. Wasn't Cassie testimony, like she done gave like 20 hours worth of testimony or some crazy shit like that? But again, the Tory Lanez trial is over with. His appeal was denied, and now he's looking for a pardon. It's just crazy. That is something that a lot of people wish that I would stop talking about, but that's too fucking bad because let's deal with the statistics right quick, right? And I can show you why I be on people's heads about that. First of all, there's a proper way to examine a criminal conviction, and that the proper way to do that is not to be listening to Superhead number 2. What's the bald head girl name that dated everybody from Kanye to Dante? Like, she done gave fellatio to some of everybody. Wiz Khalifa, and that's her business. But is that somebody who you look at as a credible source of information? I would think not. Yeah, she gave 20. I figured I was somewhere around it. That is crazy. That is donuts. Man, that is a black, white, Puerto Rican, everybody just a freaking, in the words of the Purple Man Prince. That is bananas. So let's see if I can find these other statistics that came from the CDC. Where is that? We gonna get to it, and I'm not just gonna read this. I'm gonna show it. I might show it to y'all. But again, anything that I say, hit your Google. I love saying that. I've been saying that for almost 2 decades to people. Anything I say, pull out your phone and hit your Google. Because I don't want you looking at me like I'm some type of nutcase. Because you will be absolutely incorrect. Anything I say, I'm willing to stand on it. And at the same time, I don't have a problem with being corrected. I like for somebody to show me, you see what I'm saying? Nah, sis, it ain't that, it's this. And that this that you give me, I'm going to go and vet it. I'm not just going to take nobody's word for anything. It's difficult, you know what I'm saying? Unless you are a fan of somebody in particular who I'm debunking information about. It's difficult for you to, you know what I'm saying, not take into consideration that what I'm saying is the truth, because for most of this shit, I let it be known. I got $1,000 on it. I got a rack on it. What up? And then everything get quiet. Because people not willing to put their money where their mouth is, but I am. So let me find it. I mean, it's getting crazy. Let's see. No, that ain't it. And this ain't gonna be no all-day search, like, because I'm searching my own stuff now, so I know I'm about to pull up on it. So this is what it is. Everybody, why you keep talking about Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, or you keep talking about Michelle Obama? Let me explain something to you. Going back to the Tory Lanez or Daystar Peterson and Megan Javon Pete. Like, I literally know these people's real names because I've been looking into this since 2020. And again, his case is not classified. The same way that I was able to research his criminal conviction is the same way that everybody else can do, instead of regurgitating a bunch of bullshit. So this is what it is. 5 black women and girls were killed each day in 2020. Again, 5 melanated women and girls were killed each day in the year 2020. Most of them were killed with guns. Do I gotta say that again? 5 black women and girls were killed each day in 2020. Most of them were killed with guns or murdered with guns. There were 1,821 black women and girls killed in 2020. Stop capping and regurgitating lies for Tory Lanez. If he receives a pardon, he'll have to pay Newsom or possibly Trump. And, based on the Constitution and the separation of powers, Trump is not supposed to be able to pardon someone a state conviction, only a federal conviction. But we know, you see what I'm saying? He get away with all type of shit. So who's to say whether or not that will happen? But it will not happen based upon new evidence being brought up, because it's not being submitted anywhere outside of being submitted to Gavin Newsom. Because again, he's the governor of California, and this is where Daystar Peterson was convicted, right? It wasn't a federal case, it was a state case. So that's why, you see what I'm saying? 5 black girls and women are being killed or were killed in 2020. That's 1,821 black women and girls killed in the year 2020, and most of them are murdered with guns. So him playing with the gun because he drunk, you see what I'm saying? And he got the Napoleon complex and all of this and all of that. That woman could have been injured. She could have been murdered in that situation. And me putting off this factual statement points towards the fact that it's more so likely that the shit happened the way that it was told in the trial versus it not happening, versus y'all saying she got shot. I mean, that she stepped on glass. Well, she said she stepped on glass. You have to look at the situation for what it is. Did you see how the police pulled up on her? They made her, him, and the girl Kelsey lay on the fucking ground with your hands out to the side. We know about these trigger-happy police, these patty rollers, these slave patrol people We know how easy it is for them to pop one of us, right? So when they approaching you fully armed with their shackles, about to take you down and you bleeding from both your feet, right? Are you gonna tell them that somebody shot you? In that moment, you trust the motherfuckers? I think that woman is smart to say, no, I stepped on glass and wait till she gets to the hospital. You see what I'm saying? And let her deal with that situation once she gets to safety. Because she knew, being in the presence of those police, that she was not safe. She did not start snitching on Tory until Tory press team started dragging her. These people who he paid to drag this woman. But this the same nigga, once he got convicted and at his sentencing, stood up and said he still considered Megan to be one of his best friends. He spoke about during his sentencing, not during the trial. We all know that he did not testify during the trial, but during his sentencing date, he set up and talked about how him and her got really close based off the fact that they both lost their mothers, and he still considers her to be a friend. You see this you see this lame ass shit? Like I said, and I said multiple times, if my daughter, my cousin, my auntie, my niece leave out, or she's being accompanied by you, young man, and y'all out and about and having a good time or a bad goddamn time, she better make it back home in the same condition that she left in. And if she pull up and she's not in the same condition that she left in, your ass better be injured too, based off of the fact that you was trying to protect her from who was ever attempting to harm her. But that ain't what happened. So he getting what he deserved. He can go broke and penniless trying to get a pardon because he don't want to be accountable for his own actions, right? And that's his prerogative. But I'm not going to sit here and believe this lying bastard. Oh, not me, maybe you, and you, and you, and some more of you, but not me. My mama taught me better, right? Let's go back. I want to look at this because, again, the same people that's capping for Tory right now is the same people who was saying that she didn't get shot. It's cap, right? So let me see. Is y'all gonna show me the picture or no? Okay, they gonna show it to me. So let's go. Let's blow it up for the people right quick. And let me share it with y'all. I pushed the wrong thing, I think. No, I pushed the right thing or the wrong? No, it's the right thing right here. I got you. 100%. Hold tight, y'all. Here we go. So let's look at the picture. Let's look at it in full mass, right? Does that look like she stepped on glass? If she stepped on glass, wouldn't it be the bottom of her foot? Unless she fell on her side in the glass. Come on now, y'all. Stop playing. Stop playing. And Tory Lanez ain't that big of a factor for nobody to have to tell all these lies, right? Like this dude, I saw the rant that he did before the trial or whatnot about how he went independent and he was selling his CDs or his music, his downloads, or however y'all was given to access it once you paid for it, for $1 a pop. Some people was paying $1,000 a piece. He claimed some people was paying $20,000 a piece for his music. Like, y'all don't know what a motherfucker lying. He ain't fucking James Brown. He ain't Curtis Mayfield. He ain't fucking Marvin Gaye. Yeah, y'all got what the thing got. Now I'm getting a little irritated. My bad, y'all. It's just his demeanor and his body language as he was making all these claims. Like, little dude from Canada, if you don't sit down somewhere, you're not Tupac. You're not Ice Cube. You're not Rakim. You're not Brother Jay of X Clan. Like, you know what I'm saying? And granted, I don't listen to his music because and if I've heard any of his music, I wouldn't know it was him. It would just be another song playing to me. I'm not of that generation. So y'all get on the congresswoman head and ask her why she didn't release this new evidence within 36 hours like she said she was. And what I've been able to research and find out is the Ring camera footage that she's talking about is the very same Ring camera footage that was already used in the trial. In the testimony again of Kelsey Harris, bodyguard slash driver, the testimony that he's given, which is considered to be new evidence, is the fact that he overheard a conversation in between Kelsey Harris and her husband, in which during that conversation, Kelsey Harris said that she shot Megan Thee Stallion. Again, he was not present during the shooting or the night of the, it's not an alleged incident because he's convicted of it. At this time, with him claiming to be innocent, right? As he's always said, I didn't do it. I ain't do it. Kelsey did it. I ain't do it. I ain't do it. Jesus did it. Megan didn't even get shot. So surgeons are going to step forward. The surgeons who took the bullet fragments out of her feet are going to lie and risk their livelihood and their credibility and lose their medical license for Megan. It's typical. It just shows you how much, you know what I'm saying? The world don't really care about melanated women and melanated men. They care about y'all just a little bit more than they care about us. And then when it comes to us, we really don't give a fuck about our women and children. Because if we did, it wouldn't be, and I misquoted myself during the last bill. What I was trying to express to y'all is that when I was a minor and a teenager, it used to be 1 out of every 5 melanated women and girls have been sexually assaulted, right, before the age of 18. In 2025, is 1 in every 4 melanated women have been sexually assaulted before the age of 18. So I was right by saying that it increased, but my numbers was off, and I don't know why, because these are things I've been saying for decades, right? So I gave you another one. 1 in every 6 of our young men have been sexually assaulted as a child. Again, 1 in every 6 of our melanated men have been sexually assaulted before the age of 18. So this is a serious problem. And this is why I do what I do. I show y'all the self-hate that we have for one another. And I say, what the fuck is we gonna do about it? I'm not saying it to fucking glorify it. I'm letting you know that it's a problem. So when you know these statistics are a reality, when someone says that man ain't shoot her, when melanated women are getting killed every goddamn day by the hands of fucking melanated men. And y'all don't take this well coming from a melanated woman. I know you don't, because I watched it my entire life. So when what's Raj from What's Happening real name? I can't think of his name, but some years ago he was on various TV shows and he was expressing to the people what I'm saying right now. Right now, what I'm saying to you right now, a melanated man who we grew up watching on TV, right? And many things, you know, he had a substance abuse problem at one point in his life. He's overcome a whole lot. But you've never seen a story saying that he smacked the shit out of a woman, or he shot a woman, or he molested a little boy or a little girl, right? So with that being said, he holds, what he has to say to me holds more weight and more credibility than what the fuck a Tory Lanez says, or what Tory Lanez lawyer said, or what Tory Lanez daddy said. Because I don't even have a way really to fact check And not fact check, do a background check on that man daddy, because they from a whole nother country, a different country. They from Canada. They not even from here. And I was looking to listen to the diss track that Tory Lanez did against Kendrick Lamar, right? Was showing you that he teamed Drake. Not to say that that make a difference, because it don't make a difference either to me. But I'm pointing this out because I know a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all short on the facts, but y'all are large and tall on the satire and the fake news. Y'all know all of that shit. So when I come into the cipher with the facts, I'm the damn enemy. When I'm not your enemy, I'm your elder. I'm trying to give you the light. I'm trying to give you the truth. And not only that, I'm offering you a whole right to be able to, you want to debate it? You want to debate? I got $1,000 on me and my information versus yours. Bring it. And again, that's when everybody get quiet. I ain't got shit to say. Get real quiet around this piece. Let me see. I ain't gonna keep y'all that much longer. I promise I'm not. Oh, you can't find no pictures of Obama. Why you can't find no pictures of him? Why you can't find no pictures of Michelle Obama when she pregnant? Just dumbass shit. Dumb. You can only find one picture of me when I was pregnant. And right now, I don't know where that picture is at. But I know some years ago, I shared it on Facebook. So it's somewhere on Facebook, somewhere for sure. But where it's at in my house, I don't know. My mother had 5 of us. You think it's pictures of her pregnant with each one of her children? No. And this ain't nowhere near what I'm looking for, but it's some things within these pics that I am looking for. So we just gonna have to go through them all. I don't care. Look at that. That's her husband right there, kissing on the man in her face, playing in her face. And like I said, she done married a bunch of gay people. She married one gay couple twice, and she's a comedian. So you put them facts together and you deal with that shit. Let me go back. You cannot say that these babies don't look like that woman. You can go just look at that long ass chin, just like her mama. You can't see her mama got that long ass chin because she in between them two, but she got that long ass. She got Obama smile, Barack smile, got that long ass chin like her mama, and she got grandma forehead. I proved that multiple times. This one here, she got Michelle nose. You can clearly see them babies look like they mama. She look more like Barack. She look more like Michelle. She looked like more like Michelle's mother, her maternal grandmother, than this grandbaby do. Because you move that bang and you put peace be upon her, Michelle mama next to her, you see grandmama forehead. That's Michelle Obama brother Craig, and that's him and his pale wife. Like I said, our men have always been more attractive to this than we have. We don't like pink penis like that, y'all. And you cannot prove me to be wrong. Look, grandma forehead. But this not what I'm trying to look at, y'all. Let me get to the pictures I was trying to get to right quick. But again, if you got $1,000, you got a rack to put up against me to debate me. We can do it. Look at grandma forehead. The girl got grandma forehead all day. She got that long Michelle Obama chin all day. Again, this ain't what I'm looking for right now. It's just in this particular file. So here we go. Since I was already talking about this, where my Zoom at? That ain't the Zoom. How do I zoom this? There it go. Is this the picture? Okay. So these statistics, where do these statistics come from? Let's deal with that, right? This is the Pew Research Center, which a lot of people go by, right? So if you a scholar, you know exactly what the peer review research center is. If you're not a scholar, then you don't know shit. You just know shit that's you see being regurgitated by people online. You don't know if they telling you the truth or not, right? So this is whites. And the dark color is for their men and the lighter color is for their women. So let's deal with us. Let's deal with the so-called blacks. 12%. 12% of melanated women marry outside. Are in interracial marriages, right? Whereas double the amount of our men are in interracial marriages right here. 24% versus 12%. And like I said, within the past 20 years, this 12% increased by like 3 or 4%. It used to be like 9% of melanated women marry outside of their so-called race, right? As to where our men, this has been typical for you all, not for us. We don't like pink penis like that. Let's carry on. We talked about this. If you don't know anything about this, go to our videos on YouTube and you'll be able to see me do the videos about the Broward County police officers selling crack. Not only were they selling crack to the citizens within Broward County, but they were cooking their own crack, right? In their city county building, right? The sheriff's office was cooking their own crack and then distributing it to the people within the community. So at this time, they're currently being forced to overturn like 2,000 convictions where they kidnapped people and held them for ransom for buying the crack that the police was selling to the people that the police cooked themselves. So if you want more information on that, go to our YouTube channel and you'll find it at the Alhambra Society 313. If you're not already on here watching it. Where are my pictures at? It's gonna come, y'all. Just hold tight. Oh, there they go. And we in this struggle right here too with our men. They call this stuff over here, us saying that we're spiritual and we deal with this, that, and the third. And we don't believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in Christ consciousness and shadow working and magic and real energy and astral projecting. You see what I'm saying? Traveling through the astral plane or whatnot. You see the man, he like, really? What do you mean? He say witch going to hell. He call a sister a witch the same way that the pale people used to call us witches and burn us to a stake and cut our heads off. That's how. Now this is something that's debatable because this is something that I was taught and I never saw in a book. I was taught that Niagara Falls got its name because it used to be called the Nigger Falls of Tears because that's where they would take the clan mothers and the women who would pick the various herbs. And for example, if you had asthma as a child 200 and 300 and 400 years ago, the women, maybe your grandmother, maybe your mother or your auntie, would use the tobacco leaf to give you relief from your asthma, not by way of smoking the tobacco leaf. Understand me, right? And the white man would say you a witch and cut her head off. So look at the brother. Same way y'all brothers is applauding and went out and voted for Donald Trump. This the shit y'all do to us. You see, when we got real knowledge of stuff, y'all call us a witch and tell us we going to hell, or accuse us of using some new age science when the shit that she talking about is more ancient than Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Much more ancient. But he ain't got no knowledge of stuff, so he gonna call his sister a witch. The same way during the last bill that I did, and I told her sister, she was mad because I played the Black Tube video, right? And sis, black, you calling yourself? The people didn't call themselves black. The name of their platform and their app, which you can get, in which I suggest that you do download the Black Tube app. That's the name of their company. Me, promoting and supporting them is not me saying that I'm black, right? And I told her the reason. I said, hey, the reason I don't have a problem with us utilizing the word black when we're dealing with one another is because all it does is cause division and more hate. And you see what ended up happening. She ended up hating me, and I ended up blocking her. Understand? What I forecast came into fruition. And she didn't want to listen. That's not my fault. Where I'm at, put me back on the camera. That's absolutely not my fault. I cannot force you to listen. I cannot force you to begin to research and vet that information that you are just picking up willy-nilly and then running out here coming at me like I'm in the wrong for telling you what the facts are. I told her. Now again, when you are dealing with county, well, let's start. When you were dealing with the federal government and their subsidiaries and agencies, I do not suggest that you ever use the word black or African American or let them refer to you as being black or African American. But when we are, as a people, conversing and dialoguing and building, I don't have a problem with the word black. Even though I'll say a lot of times so-called black, or I'll say melanated people, or the indigenous, aboriginal, or autochthonous Americans, you know, certain terms that I'll utilize, sometimes I still will say black. It's just what it is. We speak in English. So I'm looking for a particular picture, y'all. And when I get to it, we're going to build on it and we're going to get up out of here. This the real Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Banneker Bay. And I stand on that. Because he had the almanac first. One of the greatest builders, scientists on the plane ever. Right here. Benjamin Banneker, not Benjamin Franklin. So you see how they rob and steal from us, just like how they stole woke. Now it's the leftist liberals who the white people call the woke, and therefore the woke agenda. When you know damn well that came from us, that means that you was getting knowledge of self, right? That you was beginning to stand on something that has some substance, right? It's gonna come. Look at this. This is an argument that neither one of us gotta have. As I already told y'all, you cannot show me a treaty that has a clan mother, signature on it. You can't. So that all that shit is dead. More thieves. Look at this. You see? That's white man shit. This shit right here, this racist white boy shit. To call our women men. And this is crazy. A lot of these entertainers, even Chris Brown, Oprah Winfrey, I named a bunch of them the other night. All of these people claim that they were sexually assaulted as children. Then we wonder why certain women behave, you know what I'm saying, like are rough around the edges, as y'all will call it, or more masculine than they seem to be feminine. When you grew up to, you know what I'm saying, have to protect and secure yourself, it makes you callous in that nature. It makes you not trust people. And being that 1 out of every 4 of our women was sexually assaulted as children, you're going to have a certain percentage of your women who carry themselves like that. Just like you got a high percentage of our women and children who are LBTQTTPOT confused. Based off of the high percentage of sexual assault that happens to our children, and had they been in a protected, secure situation, 9 times out of 10, that would have never happened to them. And the same thing for our boys. 1 out of 6, 1 out of every 6 of our young men have been sexually assaulted as a child. Look at this shit. I would never promote this. Ever. Ever. But do you think this young man, because this is a young man, I don't care what he changed his name to, and how weak his parents was and stepmammy was to allow him to mutilate himself in this fashion. That is a young man. He will never be a woman or a girl or a female. He will always be a male. People are sick. Come on, where my photo at? It gotta come up. It's one of them dismissals that I share with y'all. People will still say, "Oh, there's no such thing as that's sovereign citizen ideology, and there's no such thing as status correction." You're right. There's no document that's called status correction. But there is a such thing as status correction, being that why they saying don't say black, don't say African American. I guarantee you most of the documents, like your birth certificate, your driver's license, your status within the Social Security Administration, all that shit say black and African American. Unless you are like me and you corrected that status, you see, which I didn't bother with the Social Security Administration on my behalf to change my shit, but I made sure that when my son turned 8 years old and I decided to get him, you know what I'm saying, or claim, because I knew that they already made all of those documents, a Social Security card and number, prior to him being born, regardless to whether or not I signed a birth certificate. There was just no name on there. It just said Boy Royal when I obtained it, right? But I made sure when I went to get the Social Security card for him that at the very least his status doesn't say black or African American. It says American Indian, right? Which I know, you know what I'm saying? It ain't the best, but it's fucking better than it saying black or African American. I guarantee you that. There's only so many options or statuses within the Social Security Administration that you have to choose from. They go with that shit that they didn't deliver on. What a picture at? This is the first picture I had on here. It's coming. That was guaranteed, if nothing else. Unless we are in. No, I think it's we in the right thing. You know what? I could be in the wrong. I am. No, I am. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not in the wrong thing. So let's keep going. There you go. There you go, right there. This is what I started off with, and this is what I'm gonna end with. But I changed it to show the little nightly news or daily news thumbnail for y'all. So we won't skip a beat with this. When we get up on here next time, what I'm going to touch on is this Melvindale police officer who was recently in the news for, and this was video. It was on his dash cam. What you call the other little camera that be on the police, and the woman who he assaulted, her dash cam or whatnot. This is the same officer who violated me in Melvindale back in 2016. So when I seen it on the news and they said his name, I went crazy. And I went to pulling out my briefs, you know what I'm saying? In my different bags and shit to, you know what I'm saying? Show Amir that this is the same motherfucker who snatched my keys out of my car and told me that he was gonna take me to jail and take my car and drop me off at Did he say Tim Hortons or Starbucks? Starbucks, one or the other. You know what I'm saying? And the reason he did all this to me was because I asked him for a business card. I asked him, did he have a business card? And he was, you think you better than me? And he just, what the fuck? He just spazzed. What's this motherfucker name? Matter of fact, I'm about to just. I got a terrible memory sometimes, y'all. It just is what it is. It's late, and I don't have the right nutrition. Let's see. Nah, it would have been. And what I did is I went to the FOIA office. Yeah, Matthew Furman. Just like Mark Furman of the O.J. Simpson case, Matthew Furman is his name. So I went to the FOIA office, you know what I'm saying, to get the file on this case, the background check, and you know what I'm saying? And they denied me. And that denial, understand, didn't stop me, but it just meant that I had to go over their head, right? And yeah, he done did this shit to a lot of people too, y'all. I hate that I didn't pursue it, but I do have the court documents or whatnot. And when I went to court, because he gave me a bunch of tickets. He gave me a ticket for tinted windows, no proof of insurance, quite a few things. And the only reason that he did not steal my car, right, and whatnot, he couldn't arrest me because I didn't have suspended driver's license, right? The only reason he didn't do any of that because I literally had just left the hospital and I had the documents on me. I had the first muscle spasm I ever had. It was in my neck and my shoulder and my back and my arm, right? So my movement, I really couldn't move or nothing like that. So when he pulled me over, I was explaining this shit to him. You know what I'm saying? But the minute I asked him about a business card, he stuck his hand in my car and snatched my keys out of the ignition while my window was down, and it was a blizzard literally going on. So I'm getting snow on me and everything, right? So when he came back with my keys like 30 fucking minutes later and a stack of tickets to give to me, he was like, let me see them hospital documents again, right? And I showed it to him, and he, gave it back, gave my keys back, went on about his fucking way. And for a moment in time, I was determined to get his ass, right? But again, things happen, and the process was lopsided. But the minute I walked into the court, because I had already sent all those documents to the particular court and the judge before I went, Judge Page, which is in Allen Park, because Melvindale doesn't have a courthouse, right? So as soon as I walked in, he dismissed the case. The minute I started talking, he just dismissed. He just dismissed it. And he told me, I didn't know anything about this. Yeah, you did, because I informed you by way of letting my documents precede myself to the courtroom, right? So that was one of the dismissals over the years that I received that I did share with you. So hold on. They kind of showing, and again, the thing is, I gotta get a new printer so that I can scan the documents so y'all can see it easily, and we can thoroughly go over this. But this is him insulting the sister. Same way, it just seems to always be melanated people that he's doing this to. So what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to go to into Detroit downtown, because again, Melvindale is in Wayne County. So that FOIA office down at the Register of Deeds office, I was supposed to go over, because they request the FOIA office in Melvindale requested this police officer's information, right, from the Melvindale Police Department to see if he had any grievances or complaints or whatever against him, which he has many, which is why they denied the FOIA request. And again, at the time I was actually injured. I was, I was so jacked up that I didn't work for almost for a month. It was over 3 weeks before I even went back to work. I was on temporary disability, so I didn't have the capability to move around how I needed to move around. You see, and when they denied it, I knew what the next step was. But again, there were other things going on in my life that I needed to take care of that was more important than this at the time. But when I seen this video, this is a couple months ago.
With tempers on
See how he
both
just
sides
snatched the car
flaring,
door open and
Lieutenant
shit?
Furman demands Cook's driver's license, which he refuses to
It's
provide.
crazy. This how they do
Watch
it.
what happens next.
And look at him snatching her phone. The minute that you try to, you know what I'm saying, protect yourself from him, this is what he does. He didn't
Then,
do all
in
that to
front of
me,
other
though.
students,
Right? He
parents,
just,
and Cook's
he still violated me
Lieutenant
because he
Furman
snatched my
draws his
keys out my car and he
taser and
threatened me.
fires.
You're gonna be tasered!
And right now, what is he aiming his taser at her or his gun? Like, this motherfucker is out his mind. There's no way that he should still be a cop.
Get out!
No way.
Get out! Out! Out!
But yeah, I hate to end it like
And then
this,
he
but
tased
that's
me.
how we gonna end it. Yeah, he did. He
And he
tased
didn't
her.
even. It was like
So yeah,
he said
he got his
felt
coming
fearful. He's
for real. Because unlike me, she did press charges. So it ain't gonna be, you know what I'm saying, what he think it is. And some people, vengeance is a little bit different. So I'm about to blast my peeps. I say peace.
YouTube, you fools try to limit me. Muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, coke time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda. We showing real life. Supreme.
shock.
They say I'm dope, I said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady beat, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah, unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call the third eye, we came to build, not pay your bill. Sling them in municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian cretins in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus. But you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers